Everyone that tries to lose weight misses this one key element, and it's this one missing link that keeps them stuck in that yo-yo dieting phase for months and maybe even years. If you think and do what we're going to talk about in this video today, you're going to become the type of person that can not only lose the weight but keep it off for the rest of your life. Before we get into the nitty gritty though, I want to talk a wee bit about a mate of mine that does mad ultra marathons. Now he's recently done the West Highland Way, which in Scotland is a 96-mile trail with mad elevation, and it's quite a tough walk, never mind running it. So he ran 96 miles in under 30 hours, which is no small feat in itself. But I was out with him the other day and I says to him, mate, that's amazing, you've done that like 3 or 4 times now. He does all these other ultra races, and I says, how do you train for these events? What is it that you go through in order to do this? And he said in the most casual and humble way ever, he says, to be honest, I don't actually train for these things. I just see myself as a runner, and then these events are just part of his identity of what he does. So he doesn't see himself as training towards an end goal. And in his own words, if he hits that end goal, then what else is there? So he sees a lot of people who do a lot of running achieve, a half marathon or a marathon, and then they no longer run because they don't change their identity to think that they're a runner. So what he does and what he believes and what he is just someone who runs, and these big endurance marathon, ultra marathons are just part of that identity, part of who he is and what he does. So what I took from that was that is an amazing insight, because so many people start their weight loss journey setting a goal, and usually it's a weight goal. So usually they say, oh, when I lose 5 kilos or 10 kilos or 3 stone or whatever it is, I'll be happy when I get there. And on the pursuit of that, they might lose some weight, they might actually get to their goal, but then they end up fizzling away because they haven't thought beyond that. They haven't thought of the bigger picture and then what it takes to maintain these results that they've got. So one of the missing links of losing weight and keeping it off is the fact that we do not shift our identity. People who try and lose weight think, if I just do some things differently for a short period of time, I'll get to my result and that will be it. End of story. However, what I'm trying to encourage my clients to do, and what I'm talking about you and I encourage you to do, is to start to shift your identity into becoming the person who is already at your results. Because if you start to do the things and act like the person who's already there, by default, that just means that you'll start to move towards that result because it's already a big key part of who you are already. Now, I know this sounds complicated, shifting your identity, and you might be thinking, oh, does that mean I need to change my personality or do things differently? And it's ultimately very similar to what most people do. However, we're not aiming to get to an end destination. We can still set many targets and many goals along the way, because it's good to have that feedback, and if you hit a goal, that's amazing, you can celebrate that and then you can set the next one. However, rather than setting your sights only on that end goal, that finish line, so to speak, you just become and you do the things that that person is already doing. So a couple of things that we can do to help us get there is, if you just think about the person that you want to become, if you think about you at your 10 kilo down or your 2 stone down, or you at your end goal, what is that person doing that you right now are not doing as much or maybe at all? Write those answers down, because chances are the answers that you write down there are literally the stepping stones of which you have to bring into your life and then do so you can become that person that you ultimately want to get to. Because let's not beat around the bush, if you're not currently where you want to be with your health and fitness, then you are not the person who's doing the things and being the person that is already there, because you're two different people. If you were doing the right things, if you were that person, you would already be there. Does that make sense? So think about you at your goal. What are they doing? What do they do on a daily basis? What do they do when they first wake up? What do they aim for on a daily basis? Do they have any non-negotiables? How many times do they work out? What do they eat? What does their social life look like? Do they have a bedtime? Do they prioritize their sleep? All of these questions can paint a picture of that version of you that you ultimately want to get to. And I'm not saying you have to reshuffle and restructure your entire life and become a completely different person. However, we do have to take stock and be like, right, what I'm doing has got me to this stage, but I don't want to be at this stage for much longer. I want to get over there. So what do I need to do to get there? And who do I need to become to get there? Much like my friend doesn't see, finishing the West Highland Way race as, oh, that's me, I've achieved this goal, I'm no longer a runner. he's automatically 2 days later, 3 days later, back out doing more runs because that's just who he is. He doesn't see that as an end destination, he just sees that as part of who he is. So we need to get to the same stage. When we lose 1, 2, 3, 5 kilos, I don't want us to get to the stage of, that's us, job done, fall off the wagon and gain it back, which is what so many people do, is because they get there and they don't see the bigger picture. If you're struggling to see that future version of you, or if you're struggling to come up with ideas of what that person could be doing, that's absolutely fine. All you need to do is have a wee look around and see people who maybe are in your family or your social circle, or maybe just people online. What did they do? People who are already ahead of you in terms of, physique or fitness or whatever. What did those people do? Go on the social media, have a wee look, maybe even reach out. And I can guarantee you that the things that they're doing on a daily basis are going to be things that you will have to adopt in some level. Obviously, you're not going to mirror and match a marathon runner if you're just learning how to do a 5K, you know what I mean? So you're going to take what they're doing and bring it down to your level in a way that's sustainable and realistic. I can't highlight that enough because so many people on the pursuit of their weight loss goals bite off more than they can chew, get overwhelmed, and then fall away. I'm not coming at this as saying change your entire life, get overwhelmed and don't do anything. All I'm suggesting is you look at where you want to get to, look at the behaviours, actions, habits and character traits of that individual and then map that backwards, and then all you have to do is start implementing some of those things today and becoming that person who thinks not of I'm going to get to 5 kilos. This is just who I am. I'm someone who goes to the gym even when it's raining outside. I'm someone who goes for my walk even if I'm tired. I'm someone who eats healthy even if I can't be bothered. You don't just put these things off because of external factors or how you're feeling. You do them because you know this is who you want to be and that's where you want to get to. So it's a powerful reframe, it's a powerful shift, and it's not going to happen overnight, so be patient with yourself. And if you have those attributes, behaviours and habits written out, I highly suggest keeping them somewhere that you can see, maybe in your office, in your bedroom, even in your car, somewhere that you're always going to be seeing them, because I don't want this to be something that you think about and go, oh, that's a great idea, maybe think about it for a day and then forget about it. I want this to be something that you can implement and action and change your life, because again, there's a version of you out there who's at your results. Do what they're doing and build it up, and then eventually you'll get there. And then once you sustain the habits and the routines and the behaviours and everything, that will be you for the rest of your life. Another wee bonus is this doesn't have to just apply to fitness. This can apply to your relationship. This can apply to business as well. What does the person who's making more money than me do? Cool. They might go in an hour early. They might, do a bit of overtime. They might study in their free. You know what I mean? This is an endless thing where you can shift your identity, but it's more about thinking differently. So hopefully you found that useful. I'm sure if you were to implement it, you will literally change your life starting today. If you did find this video useful, then YouTube's a smart bugger. It's going to recommend a video that you'll enjoy just as much as this one right here.